20 years ago, a sequel to Paper Mario 64 would come out, being Paper Mario the Thousand-Year Door, and who would have ever known it would have went down as one of the best Mario games of all time. A spin-off, an RPG spin-off at that, and I simply cannot believe that this is a timeline that we're living in where 20 years later, we get a remake of one of the best Paper Mario games ever, if not the best. And I want to go on to talk about exactly why this is such a big deal. Before we dive into this game once again tomorrow, I want to dive into why this is such a huge time, why this means so much for us Paper Mario fans, and why tomorrow is a dream come true. The Paper Mario series has been on a rocky road recently. The last couple of years have been rough, as they completely changed the formula to something new because they felt like the battle system needed a revamp. I mean, seriously, even with Super Paper Mario and the Wii, they decided to just completely get rid of the battle system altogether and make it more of a 2D action-adventure game. And then obviously with Sticker Star, that's when things went completely off the rails, where they re-implemented a battle system, but it was one that a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, hate. First two games were just a basic turn-based RPG, and they have turned it into a weird sticker collectathon. You still had your button time presses and everything, and it still kind of felt like a Paper Mario game, but there was no reason to battle. There was no XP or leveling up system, and yeah, just collecting the stickers wasn't as fun as just a basic turn-based RPG. And then eventually, Sticker Star would become the new norm for Nintendo's Paper Mario series, where the next two games in the franchise would copy off of that Sticker Star foundation, or at least have a good emphasis coming from it. And where once Paper Mario was looked at as an amazing Mario spin-off RPG title, it now was looked at as a dreadful character that was corrupting other games as well. For instance, moving into Mario & Luigi, making Mario & Luigi Paper Jam one of the worst Paper Mario games. In fact, I believe it was one of the worst selling ones. It essentially just took the blandness from Sticker Star and incorporated it into Mario & Luigi, where we didn't have unique characters, enemies, bosses, and even worlds, which made the game very bland, because everything and everyone seemed to be Toads. And this would continue forward, even moving on to the Wii U with Paper Mario Color Splash. Nintendo would even come out and say that they just did not want to have original characters or enemies or really worlds, anything that's outside of already established Mario canon, to be incorporated into a Paper Mario game. That means no more dressed up characters. You can't even have Toads in costumes anymore, really, unless it was very, very basic. Nintendo had completely gone back on what made Paper Mario so fun and original in the first place, which would be very detrimental to the series. Once again, just like Sticker Star, Color Splash would do essentially the exact same thing. It still had thing items to collect. Instead of stickers, they were now cards. There's still no XP progression. Nintendo really just made Paper Mario as bland as it possibly could be. At least the Koopalings are here this time to give it some flavor, but yeah, it was still very basic. And then of course we get Origami King on Nintendo Switch, which still pulls from those foundations of Sticker Star and Color Splash, but thankfully does so in a better way. It definitely was a step in the right direction. The battle system was actually changed to matter this time around, and it actually was something somewhat unique. It actually had a battle ring, but after a while, a lot of people felt like this was still a gimmick and still not a basic turn-based RPG like they once had and what we missed. So yeah, people were still mixed on this game. I personally still think it's a really good Paper Mario game, but it still didn't hit the highs that the original two did. And still, Nintendo was denying the fact that people wanted the classic RPG to return, and that they still wanted to strive to make new Paper Mario experiences, and that Paper Mario was still going to remain this way in the future. This was a stab in the gut for us Paper Mario fans. It kind of just like Nintendo straight up looked us in the eyes and said nothing is going to change. This is the new Paper Mario standard, and it hurt. Even with Origami King slowly trying to make its way back to originality, it still felt nothing like the originals. The locations still weren't super crazy, the story wasn't deep, and there were no partners, and the battle system still wasn't its basic golden era form of a turn-based RPG. So yes, people were still very upset, and really getting to the point where it looked like Paper Mario was never going to change for the good again. But then last year, September 14th of 2023, during Nintendo's Fall Nintendo Direct, and at the very end of the Direct, the one last thing, they announced Paper Mario the Thousand-Year Door remake coming to Nintendo Switch. After all of this time, after all of these worries, after all of our minds racing, trying to figure out what Nintendo is going to do with the next Paper Mario game, we get the Paper Mario game that made us all become huge fans of the series. Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door is officially getting a remake. And Nintendo didn't just remake this game. They didn't all sticker star it and change everybody into toads and mess up anything or like get rid of dialogue or censor characters or anything like that. This game is true to the original Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door to the T, but it just looks amazing now, and now completely remade from the ground up. I know a lot of people are going to say this was bound to happen because the Mario and Luigi games did the same with Superstar Saga and Bowser's Inside Story, and Nintendo just likes to remake everything, you know, and eventually we're just going to get everything remastered and remade from the past. Yes and no. I feel like this instance is an extreme situation where this is coming from a classic version of these Paper Mario games that Nintendo decided to completely change for the future. They've come out multiple times and said that they didn't want to go back to what they used to do, that things were going to be changed, and it felt like this was one remaster or even a remake that was never going to happen. And the fact that this happened, especially after the comments Nintendo made with Origami King, it's almost safe to say that maybe Nintendo is ready to move back to this classic style of Paper Mario once again, which is one of the greatest things that I could ever hear. You know, even if we didn't get this game and Nintendo just came out and said that they were going back to the originals, I still would be in a complete disarray that Nintendo is actually doing this. So the fact that they gave us the Thousand-Year Door is the perfect stepping stone to make our way back to what made Paper Mario so good in the first place. And this makes me so happy. Well, tomorrow, it's not us just getting another remake from Nintendo. It's finally Nintendo listening to us. It is a step into a bright future for the series and finally leading us down a path of maybe some amazing new Paper Mario games coming in the near future. This means so much for the future of the series and to us fans that a lot of people just don't quite understand exactly what we've been going through. Some of you guys may have grown up during the Sticker Star, Color Splash, or even Origami era, so maybe you're not familiar with these two classic Paper Mario games. But the characters, the worlds, and the story is what all drug us to be huge defenders of this game in the first place. If you haven't played the first two Paper Mario games, and maybe just the newer ones, things are a lot different here. This is going to be a very different experience for you. It's still an experience that I believe most people are going to find joyous. I can't believe this is happening, and as a huge Paper Mario fan, and as this being one of my favorite video games of all time, this is truly a special day for me tomorrow. But I hope it is for you too, and even if you've never played this game before, it still is a very special day for you because you get essentially a brand new Paper Mario game. But I want to say thank you to everybody that's tuned in today and all you Paper Mario fans watching this, because odds are if you clicked on this, you're probably a huge Paper Mario fan. But I want to thank you for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before we head out. And guys, like always, I'll see you in the next one. Tomorrow is Paper Mario Day. Get out, purchase the game. Let's have some fun tomorrow. We're going back to Rogueport, finally.